Now, when I first started this podcast, it was probably about a year ago or a little bit longer, I guess. I did so because at the time it felt like, we were on the verge of disclosure, and maybe we are. Now I have my doubts as time goes on. I just don't know. It seems like since 2017, there has been some movement. It's like, after some decades pretty much of complete denial that there's nothing to UFOs, all of a sudden there is something to UFOs again as far as the government's concerned. And my feeling is, it's very possible that the reason that this is happening now over these last 5 years, and I've said this before, and I just want to get into some of the reasons. I'm going to get into some of the reasons why I really believe, and it needs to be reaffirmed, that this could be some form of disclosure. Maybe just, they're never going to come out and tell us, oh yeah, there's extraterrestrials, right? But I think we're going to end up having to learn that for ourselves somehow. And they're just going to, the military just going to act dumb about it. I am certain, again, as everyone who listens to this podcast knows, that there's no question that there's a faction in the government that knows exactly, well, they don't know exactly what's going on, but they know there's a presence here on Earth that's not human, and basically they have machines that could, fly circles around anything we have. And they're just way more advanced. But, I think what's happened here is the reason that this is, the government is starting to say, they're starting to basically, say, well, we're looking into this. We're trying to determine whether these things are a threat to national security, and on and on and on, blah, blah, blah. They've been saying this basically off and on for 75 years. And I think that, people started to realize in the Pentagon, people in this group that controls this information, within the past 10 years or so, they started realizing that the human race is becoming more and more technologically advanced. And, I was just scouring the internet earlier today, going through YouTube, and there's so much stuff out there. On TikTok, there's things out there that are very credible. You come across a lot of things sometimes that are hoaxes, but there are things out there. There are things that people are filming, and I'm sure that some of you people who are listening to this podcast and were watching my YouTube channel are aware of these channels and that are showing some of these things. And some of it is, very impressive. I mean, some of it. There's a lot of hoax stuff out there. Okay, let's not. There's no question about that. But there are some things, I was watching a channel earlier today where some people were filming a night sky, and there was all sorts of, it looks like, 20, 30 objects flying around. We have the technology now to see these things. We have infrared cameras, and so regular people have access to this kind of video equipment these days. So, then I saw I was on a TikTok page, and there was some young girl there that was standing on a beach that filmed this, and there was an object that was flying at incredible speeds behind her, in one direction, then in another direction. I don't know. This didn't look like it was a hoax. This looked real. And I think we're starting to see that. There's so much stuff out there. There's so much content out there. It's going to be, at some point soon, it's going to become undeniable, because here's what's going to happen. At some point soon, within the next 10, 20 years, right, we're going to have so much, regular people are going to have access to all sorts of video recording devices, things that are even way beyond what we have right now. You already see some of it, right? But you're going to be able to have a regular person out there who doesn't believe in UFOs will be able to prove it to themselves. They'll be able to go outside and set up some cameras very cheaply and film their own proof. That's where we're headed. We're headed to this direction where you're going to be able to soon just have your own proof. You're not going to need anyone else to tell you. The government's not, you're not going to have to rely on the government. You're going to be able to capture things with your own video equipment and prove it to yourself. That's where we're headed. There are things, they are here, they are flying around, they are doing things that are impossible as far as our technology is concerned. I mean, we don't have technology that could do some of the things that these things can do, and you're going to be able to prove it to yourself without somebody trying to convince you, or somebody lying to you and saying it's not real. You'll be able to go out and do it yourself, because you're going to have access to the equipment to find out the truth for yourself. You're going to be able to film things that are going on in the skies that otherwise you would never even know they were there. I mean, with all the different kind of video equipment that's becoming available, like at some point soon. And because of this, I think this is one of the reasons why the government has started to, at least start putting out there that, oh yeah, there's objects out there, we can't explain them. We're looking into it. We're trying to determine if they're a threat to national security. So they're doing that. And in this way, at some point, once everyone realizes, yeah, there is something going on here, right? They'll be able to prove it to themselves. The government could cover its butt saying, yeah, we told you we were seeing stuff, weird stuff. We don't know what it is. They could even say at that point too, they could still say, well, we don't know what's going on. I think that's what might be what's happening here. And that's why this what seems like could be a disclosure, but maybe it's really not. Maybe it's just covering their butts for what's about to come here. What's starting to happen right now, actually. I mean, there's people who have a big interest in this, like I do, but they don't sit down like I do, and they don't talk about the subject like I do. They just go out and they actually try to film these things on a regular basis, and some of these people are capturing very credible evidence with their cameras on a regular basis. And I mean, you could, like I said, you'll find a lot of things on the internet. Some of it's most likely a hoax, but a lot of it's very credible. There's a lot of stuff out there credible, and you're going to be able to get that same kind of credible proof on your own at some point here. I mean, right now, possibly, if you were to start investing in some of this video equipment, you could get that proof yourself. Because there are things happening in our skies on a regular basis. There are objects that are not satellites, right? They're not moving like satellites. I've seen some videos where there's objects moving and they stop and they start up again, move in a different direction. That's not a satellite. That's what's happening now. I think that's what could be behind why the Pentagon's, starting to open up a little bit. Really, it's just it's just a method to cover their butts in the end. That's what I think is happening.